Elith, you're coming to us today from SUBTO, but also you've been in the real estate space, and you and I have known each other for a couple of years. You worked with me, helped me get some marketing material out some years ago. But I'd like you to kind of introduce yourself a little bit here, because I like to share some marketing strategies, and I know you're already posting this stuff online, but I wanted to have you on here and do a really cool overview of like what you actually offer, and so that we can help students get to the next level in their community.
Gotcha. Yes, like you say, I've been in the industry for 7 years. Actually, I remember the first time we met. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Well, we specialize in lead conversion and generation of leads. We do from market research, leads pooling, skip tracing, analyzing what is the best option for you, what market you should be approaching. Nowadays the most expensive thing is the data. So we have a bunch of people that still have a 9 to 5, and you put yourself in people's shoes, and after work, a long session of work, probably you had to drive 3 hours to arrive at home, and then you gotta get on the dialer with a bunch of people that is not even interested in selling or asking for retail. And then SUBTO, you have the opportunity of approaching that people with something creative. But the bottom line is, if these people don't have any type of distress situations in their life
then
or
forget
in
it's
the
not
property,
happening.
It's pretty tough. It's like finding an unicorn out there in the streets at noon. And so what I do is basically I analyze the data. I reduce the speed to lead, because if you know who you're calling, what situations they have, you don't need to dial way too many times. And every people that is going to be picking up the phone may be a good opportunity. Maybe people that is already retired, have bad credit. There's different targets that we have, and those are one of the main situations people that have built their properties before the 2000s. People that don't own, probably, the wholesaling side, we do nobody that owns more than 100,000 on their property, and that has more than 10 years of equity, 10 years of ownership.
That's where you find the best
for the
response, right? Yeah.
So on the SUBTO side, you can play with the data a little bit more, but it's more difficult, because I found in the last 7 years that the best deals, the best opportunities, you find them in probates, inherited leads, tired landlords, absentee owners, ugly houses. I'm also part of the Rhino tribe, and ugly houses are big checks. So that's something that we have in mind. So instead of you pulling the normal filters, like for instance batch leads and PropStream, commercial platforms that you just go and pull 80,000 high equity properties or 50,000.
So you narrow them down even more,
data.
and you believe that's part of your strong point, is what you're saying, right? You guys have found the filters that like produce the best results, right? And that's kind of what makes you unique.
Yeah, understanding the data takes you so much far. And for instance, instead of dialing 80,000 people to find one person that may be in some type of situation, instead of begging for deals, we should be solving people's situations. So let's look for ugly houses, situations where the property becomes a problem. So people is more open to do innovations, up to cocktails, whatever you want to serve them when they have a problem, because they're like, I'm trying to get as much as possible, but if you can help me, I really need to leave in a week this property.
This needs to happen like that fast.
That way you don't have to be chasing nobody. And of course everything takes time, because there's no magic pill. You still need to pick up the phone, call them. Some people is gonna be realistic about the situation, but it's easier when you have a case in your hands. So it is easier to educate someone who wants to sell.
Educating the one who wants to sell. Okay, I have two questions. Okay, one, do you sell just the organized data as well as actually calling? And this is because some students are like sweat equity students, right? They're like, I can't afford to have Elise and her team do this for me, but if you can provide the list for me, that would be, there's value there, right? Because you're going to pull these lists. Now, in that case, are they essentially calling the same lists that you guys are calling? Because that's normal, right? In this business, a lot of people are calling the same people.
Well, everybody has different strategies, and that's why when someone wants to buy leads, I do a session with them because this is personalized data. For instance, you may be looking to wholesale, and someone else is looking to do only SUBTO deals. Yeah, buy home, burp, options, so many things. Some people wants to do land. So not everybody's going to be doing the same. There's a lot of competition, but that's why knowing your target allows you to, to be more assertive when you're doing marketing, because
the conversation is similar too. Over and over, the dialogue is the same. Yeah.
And remember, everybody has a target. If you don't have a target, you may be in someone else's target, and that's why you start to bounce heads with your competition.
Yeah.
Because you are in someone else's territory.
Yeah.
You probably don't do land, and you're calling land. You don't do multifamilies, and you're calling multifamilies.
Right.
So you need to think ahead before you invest in a lease or something, what you want to be doing.
Well, what do you think is the educational part of this? What are the homeowners, what's the thing they don't know? Walk me through that. Like, they're missing a component. Number one, they don't actually know what a fair cash offer is. Am I right? They don't.
True.
They're just kind of hoping, and that's why they feel so insulted, because they actually don't know what they should be getting, right? So how do you educate them through that process, or do you? Or is that the responsibility of the closer or the person who helps you? Or do you said you're closing some of these deals too, so that's a big question. I'm sorry, but to hyper focus it, how
so many questions.
Yeah, the main one I want to know though is what are you educating them with that you think is valuable to them? What's the most valuable thing that they could learn as a homeowner that you think helps them feel confident in what's happening in the offer?
It's a case per case, type of situations. But on my experience, when on some of the projects that I'm part of, for instance, I'm part of a project in Macon, and when I talk to the people, those are really distressed properties in Macon. I love the market, and I find people very welcome to be educated. They want a fair offer. They just don't want to feel like they've been ripped off, like someone is taking advantage of them. That's why you need to be like Paige says, you need to really have a conversation with people, because if they don't know you, they don't precisely have to like you. And if you are not good articulating your process, how it works, uncertainty kills more deals than low offers.
Amen. Right. I agree with you 100%. If they had some certainty and education, and that could really help them like feel confident about making a decision with you. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, like yesterday, I was calling some sellers doing follow-ups. There was this elder. He lives in Indiana, and his property is abandoned in Macon. And I was asking him, they want to sell it. And he's like, I have a buyer that is supposed to be buying it. And I started to ask some questions, okay, and how's the process going? Did you get a contract? Is there earnest money down? Like, I started, to see if they really had a buyer. And he was like, no, he hasn't called me back in 7 days. I haven't received any contract or a phone call from him. And I started to doubt he's going to buy the property. And I was like, oh, wow. And he was like, I'm talking to my lawyer. If he's not going to buy, I need to find another buyer. I was like, well, sounds to me like this person is really not interested. And I, pull up the comps, and I was like, well, now I understand why he didn't call you back. Probably he's working for someone else did bad the numbers, and he was a little bit overpriced. And I told him, look, thank God he didn't sign you up on the contract and lock you in for 30 days and then just walk
then
away
fall
with
apart.
nothing.
Yeah, that happens all the time. Agreed.
Because I was like, I'm gonna be really honest. He's not gonna come back for the property because it's overpriced. Needs some love.
But the homeowner doesn't know that.
Really nice
Yeah.
conversation. Doesn't know. He's never been in the property. He haven't been in the property for the last 5 years. The property doesn't even have a door.
Right.
There's nothing. There's like roof and 4 walls.
Wow.
And he was like very welcome to understand why the guy didn't come back. And then I said, look, we want those type of properties, but my offer is not gonna be the same, because if you really want to sell it, you need to be around this much. And he was like, well, my wife is in the hospital. If you send me a contract, I will take it serious. So that's a hot lead.
Yeah.
That probably someone didn't do the proper work, didn't talk, didn't educate, didn't take the time. Sometimes you gotta take the time.
Okay.
I see a lot of people trying to close everything in one call, and sometimes you just need to nurture the conversation.
Yeah, this is coming from a 7-year veteran, right, with the dream of being in real estate. I know.
Yeah.
By the way, I want to just say, good for you, girl. You are doing exactly what you told me you were going to do. I'm super proud of you. Exactly what you said you wanted to do, you're doing it. So, anyway, I love it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And I'm honored to have you today as well. So, we do a couple of things, but you're highlighting the fact that homeowners don't have an understanding, so they like to be educated, they like to be nurtured, you use that word, and they like seriousness, they like contracts to be in front of them, they like earnest deposit, right? They like someone who is not just gonna blow smoke up their rear.
Communication.
Yeah, and then communication.
One of the things that he mentioned was like, he didn't call me back anymore. He said, I'm gonna send you a contract, and nothing happened. And one of the things that I highlighted was like, our company is a local company. Our communication is gonna be better because we actually buy houses and keep them. And he was like, yeah, that's what I want, someone to keep the property. I don't want the property just to be there, destroy. He was like 90 years old already. So I even felt a little bit sorry for him. I was like, people is trying to play him. And,
nobody wants to get taken advantage
like
of, right? Like, that's what you have to do, right? And so you're validating a lot of stuff for me, and I just want to say thank you so much for giving us some insight on this lead gen space. So, but bigger than that, okay, so let's talk about people who want to use your service. You've already shown that you're an expert at what you do, and you guys are good at what you do, and you're capable of next level like communication with these clients, right? And get them across the finish line. Now, describe what would be the next steps if someone wanted to get moving with just leads from you. Maybe what that would look like. Is there a website? Do they call you? How does that work? And then there's a price point. How many leads do you recommend maybe they buy? So that's like 3 questions there.
Let me catch up. I have a website.
Okay.
My company's name is SUBTO Performance Team. You can find me online on my Facebook. I appear as Eliot Quiroz. You can find me, book a call. I don't just do batches like, I live in California, give me a city. No, I don't do things like that because I need to understand what is going to be your strategy, your approach. So when I look at the data, it's kind of, putting dots together. So I understand what type of lead is going to be more likely to want to talk to you. It's like kind of predicting what is going to happen. Of course, at the end, you still need to do the job, talk to them, work them. But, like I said, you got to be aligned with your vision. So the next step would be book a call. Tell me about your business, about what you're trying to accomplish with those phone calls. What type of homeowners will be the ideal for you. Then I'm going to do my market research before I pull the leads. I'm going to do the data stacking, the analysis. I'm going to filter them. And once they're ready, I'm going to email you the leads already done. And of course, you're going to pay at some point before we start. But I'm going to first make sure that if you tell me, Ellie, I would like to get around 10,000 leads,
Mhm.
and I see that the area doesn't have, enough reach for the area, I
Mhm.
would tell you, I would suggest you get another market or at least 2 markets,
Okay.
so you can actually have the 10,000. Because you will get 10,000 leads easily on any market, but if you don't have a target, you can pull just batches and batches of leads, 100,000 of leads, and you're not gonna get a closing. So I will do the market research first. We let you know what I see is going on there, population, how many souls. I will let you know. Okay, I see that we can pull at least 20,000.
Yeah.